Now, let me ask you, as a non-doctor, why would a medical practitioner be interested in Med for Hope courses?
Because now the first courses were only for all the participants were people who were working in the field, in the street.
So but people who were actually working as volunteers.
Yeah, so they did the course. Yeah. Or volunteers, or also in organizations where they get paid, actually. Okay. And now, even more, they're attending these courses, doctors who don't voluntarily work in this field, but they have to. They have to. They work in a hospital, in an emergency room, who work in a hospital, but they are always confronted with the problems of homeless people, and they don't know how to deal with it. Okay. So they come now to our course, and they don't intend to work in the street, actually, but they want, what should I do with this guy?
Actually,
when he comes to my hospital,
in volleyball, there's a principle event when you're playing in volleyball, right? You hit the ball over the net, and usually the first player won't just automatically
put it back.
You don't put it back. What you do is you set the ball, and then you usually hit the ball 3 times, right? It's kind of the strategy of volleyball. And what I was doing for you was I was setting the ball for you. I was hoping for all of us non-doctors, one of the biggest complaints we non-doctors have is that we often question whether or not doctors still have a heart, whether they're emotional, whether they care, or whether they're just machines. Because unfortunately, the medical profession is a very, very difficult profession, which can give you PTSD and make you emotionally callous, right? Mm-hmm. So the reason I was asking this question and was hoping you were saying is because at heart, all medical practitioners have a big heart and they care about people. I hope that was what I was hoping that you were going to say.
That's why they study medicine.
So you would agree with that statement?
We now also are at the University of Vienna. And it's our first year at a medical university. And we start with the students. So
we were talking about your 5 core programs that you have. That you initially, their first clientele that you took care of was other professionals who volunteer, who work for organizations like Caritas, Amba Med, Neuna House, people that understand and acknowledge that part of their daily routine has to do with dealing with people who are homeless or who are displaced or who might just be impoverished. Okay, so that's one. But then you said that's only I don't know how many hundred that might be. But now you have a whole bunch of new doctors that are coming into play, right? Yeah. Who have to deal with homeless people in their regular profession, hospitals, emergency services, paramedics. So what you did is, and you realized that this is a wonderful concept that just doesn't just benefit medical practitioners. Now you've gone to medical aides, you've gone to nurses, you've gone to social workers, of course. Right? So what's the feedback of these people when they
they love it, actually.
Why do they love it?
Because they never heard about it.
Okay.
And because they need it in their daily work.
Are they surprised by the wealth of knowledge of things that they learned that they thought they already knew?
Sometimes, some of them, they were sent from their hospital, for example,
so it wasn't their choice.
It wasn't their choice, and then they're there, and they say, "Oh wow, that's really interesting."
So you give them food for thought.
Yeah, and now what my next idea for this education is, that's not official right by now, but I was thinking of collaborating with the hospital so that they have one person or two who is in charge, who has an idea of street medicine, so that he's the one who is responsible.
The assigned team member if a homeless person comes in that's disheveled,
so who's
soiled, who's inebriated, who's despondent.
Yeah, who has gone through our course and has an idea. For example, if you treat the people, and normally you just, where do you put them after that? So you send them out back on the streets.
Now, this is important because this is another aspect of Med for Hope. One of the principles of Med for Hope is not only to deal with medical issues, but also to work as a facilitator. There's so many wonderful and valuable organizations. Yeah. We spent some time in 2 weeks in Texas, and we started doing some research of how many different organizations deal with homeless people, and there's endless numbers. Okay, they all do great work. They're all wonderful, wonderful people. We did some work in San Antonio. We walked across the streets, and I remember you helped somebody who was overdosing. It was very It was very impactful.
For you, it was very exciting.
Exciting. I don't know if that's the right word, but it was impressive to see what the real need on the street is, and what wonderful people. And what totally amazed me, and maybe we should use this as an example. We were in San Antonio, and we were walking with she was not a doctor, but she was
former military
former military officer who had a medical training over the military, so she had paramedic status, high level, right? And she also talked about her patients and her clients, and she would travel, she would make appointments with homeless people and go to where they are. And remember, we had an appointment with somebody that didn't show up, and while we were looking for these people, we saw a bunch of homeless people underneath the bridge. It was 40 degrees in Celsius, close to 105 Fahrenheit, right? And we were looking for this person, and while we were looking for this person, they said,
"Here's another guy.
There was a guy who was having an overdose, right?" And what I was totally impressed by, and by the way, we were there with 4 other volunteers. The person who was leading the program, great person, and 3 other doctors. Okay, you were doing most of the work.
No, I didn't.
No. I don't mean to take anything away from what they were doing, but they really looked to you. You went into action. You got into the flow. It was like second nature to you.
It is.
You know?
Yeah, of course.